Hello there everyone, thanks to my new subscribers and to my old subscribers. Tonight I'm going to do What's His Love Game? Pick a card. What's his love game? Pick a card. You choose a number, 1 or 2, and the timestamps are in the description box. What's my channel viewers person's love game? What's my channel viewers person's love game? Of course, if this reading resonates, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can send me the funds with a message, or you can email me an inquiry. My Fiverr account is a service facility and you need your Google account details or your Facebook details to log into that account. So I get the strong impression here that his love game is to toy with your emotions, but in a very intelligent manner, because he's deeply in love with you. He wants to throw your perception about who he really is. I don't know, what is he, CIA or something? He just gives me the impression that he's highly intelligent, very loving, is in love with you, has separated from you in the past because of some connection that you have. You made him extremely happy. He felt the separation between you, but he can be a very cold character. He can be very logical. But I feel that presently he's holding his heart in his hands in love, but protecting himself as well. Like, he doesn't want those emotions to freeze over. That's the biggest thing with him. So I feel his love game is to skew your perception of who he is really, so that he can test your genuineness. Oh, great. Here we go. So he's pretty bright guy. Very masterful. I wouldn't be surprised if he enjoys water sports or fishing or something like that, or lives near the water. I wouldn't be surprised at all, but generally I feel that he's earth, water and air, but extremely intelligent mind, very cool, very sharp, but he's very devoted to you. It's like he's worked out that you're the person that makes him happy, and he's willing to show you his heart. So his game is to duck and weave until he works out who you are and what you want from him. He's quite a successful fellow. He really feels that this game will work at you handing your heart to him. Declaring your love. And in two of these pictures, he stands above you. So I get the strong impression he can be very domineering. He pushed aside his emotions in the past. And there's some woman around you, quite evil. So I feel that he rejected you on the basis that you have this attachment. She shows up as a dark angel, so that means to me that, and she's dishonest because she's in reverse. So she tells stories, big fibs to people, to distort others' perception of you. But presently he's thought better of that. He has rejected you on the basis of what she was saying, but he's very intelligent. He's thought over what she's been saying, and I feel that she did ruin things. It could be a mother figure, but it could be any female figure. It shows a female figure, but I mean, dark angels are tricky because they seem to allude to following the light, but their actions are evil. So they'll, I don't know, promote Christianity or pray to God or do whatever it is they do on a spiritual level. But it's all in the name of hypocrisy, because their deeds are dastardly. So it's difficult to tell what this woman's motives are in most circumstances. But it shows that she tried to skew his perception of what your emotions were towards him, but your emotions were similar. I mean, you felt happy, he felt happy, but his heart was actually happy. And the funny thing here is that your whole being was happy. So he's a very concentrated force, and I don't know what plans and schemes he's got going, but he is also a very controlling force. So and he's all about the sword of truth and dominance. So his love game is to keep himself apart from you until he can change your outlook on him, until you fall in love with him. That's why you haven't seen him. He takes a firm stance about keeping separated from the person that he loves, that makes him happy. Because he feels it works. Basically, it's like a absence makes the heart grow fonder game, love game. But funnily enough, he's underestimated you because he's your equal. He takes you to be a lesser intelligence than him because he's very arrogant, like conceited. But that's only because the perception has been skewed by whoever it is that's been chatting around him or influencing him. But the reality is that you're just as tough as him. You're just as stately. You're just as sharp. In some respects, you're just as cunning in love. And I feel that you have outwitted him without outwitting him. So by that I mean, you have your own game, you have your own love game. It's very similar to his, but it's more genteel because you are very effeminate, but your mind or your soul is very masculine. And so basically I feel when you're up, he's down. When he's up, you're down. And that at times you succeed, you both succeed at cutting the connection. So I'm just trying to, he definitely sees you as somebody that needs protection by a big strong man such as him. But it shows that's just one aspect of your personality, because you are also the ace in this deck. You're also the king in your mentality, in your outlook. It says to me that you are very emotional and also very stable and also very sharp in mind. It also says to me that you let him have his fun because you know that you can match him on an emotional plane, not so much on an intellectual one, because he has this very inquiring mind that's probably well educated in some area, and if he's not well educated, he's very practical, like it can do anything. Whereas you're more of an effeminate person, so your intellect is used differently. It has more to do with day-to-day tasks and remaining stable and clear in your outlook, particularly in terms of this love relationship, which is very genuine. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it suits you to switch this person on and off. That's what these cards are telling me. So you can take this person or you can leave them. But he wants something from you. I feel that if his attitude changes, he can be pretty mean. But it shows he's upright in character. Plus it shows you have options here. Like a very loving, determined, open-hearted option. Somebody very focused. And then you have a very grounded, stable, and potentially and quite well off figure here. So you have your own options and you're being surrounded, and I feel that you know you're being surrounded by these options. The other person's very intelligent, like has masterful intelligence in something. So they were impressed by something you did, because these men around you are strong. Like, they're not wishy-washy. You have two kings here surrounding you and an ace. You don't have knights. And they're looking upon you as like the damsel in distress that needs rescuing. But I feel there's going to be a reconciliation here. It shows a strong reconciliation. I wouldn't be surprised if presently he's cut you off. And he's cut you off quite suddenly and then reinstigated your emotional connection. And if this is a physical relationship, you will know how that played out. But if this is an emotional relationship, you would also have felt the disconnect. But this has happened just presently. But I feel this guy, there's several of them though. This guy, but we're talking about one. So you would know which one you're thinking about. Has kind of cut you off and then returned. And I feel it has something to do with his suspicions over some other men that are around you. And he has every reason to feel threatened because they're serious contenders. There's going to be a reconciliation into the future because these men are closing in and this man is closing in. You know, there are three aspects to his personality, but generally he's an abundant fellow. He does well for himself, but I feel his game threw this whole situation off because he expected he could just separate from you and then return when it suited him. And he feels that's the way to capture you, to make you offer your heart to him. Because I feel the last time that you saw one another, you made one another supremely happy, but you didn't offer your heart to him, and he expects you to offer your heart to him. Like, very, very conceited, as I said. But I feel that he's underestimated you. Because even though you will accept something from him and you'll be very happy about the reconciliation, you'll still play this out the way you want to play it out because you are also very domineering. So from that perspective, I feel that he will open his heart to you because his emotions are stronger. But because he has this closed side to him, it could play into his love game where you seemingly show that you like him, but you don't express yourself to him in a loving manner, and he reverts to the game and he separates from you again. He reconciles and then he separates until he gets what he wants from you, and that's an admission of love. But it seems to me in most cases that would be easy for a lady to do. It's just that you don't exactly have a game. You're much more grounded. You had a game in the past, but it was only because you didn't really know this person. I get the feeling it was very fresh, the relationship. You have to play that through because you are separated. But it says into the future, you simply go about your love relationships in a certain way. It's not that you're not giving over yourself, because you are. You're expressing yourself every time you see this person, if you see them. It's just that he expects some type of action from you, and I feel that you're a lot more grounded in your outlook than what he gives you credit for. And in the end, his emotions are going to take over that stubborn side. But he does have this love game, and he could play it out until the very end. But it looks promising for you altogether in love. I just hope, because all these men around you show the same attitude, that they don't miss out. Because I don't think you're a tolerant person in love. You're a romantic person, but you're also intolerant. So they have to play their games right. Like, they have to get it perfectly right. Otherwise, I don't feel you'll be handing them anything on a plate. Okay, so that was deck 1. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below, with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can send me the funds with a message, or you can email me an inquiry. My Fiverr account is a service facility, and you need your Google details or your Facebook details to log into that facility. See you next time. This is deck 2. What is his love game? Pick a card. What is his love game towards my channel viewer? What is his love game towards my channel viewer? If this reading resonates, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below, with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can send me the funds with a message, or you can send me an email inquiry. My other service is a Fiverr service, and that's a service facility, and you need your Google details or your Facebook details to log into that account. So I have here the impression that he wants to play a disappearing act with you. That's his love game. His love game is to control his environment and control you. By both rejecting you and loving upon you. Gives me like an obsession feel. I feel that he tries to find out information about you actually while he's playing his card trick. It's funny because he's both a morbid fellow, but also and unstable, but also he's very strong and steadfast. So his love game is to bring you around by antagonizing you somewhat until he becomes your hero or your central focus, until you tell him that you need him to help you. So this person puts you through trials on an emotional level. To test your forbearance, to test your faith, so that you're the only one, so that he's the only one you will ever consider as your truth in terms of your emotions. I'd give this guy the finger. I can see that he's a bit of an fucker. So he's trying to pull the wool over your eyes, basically. He's trying to test you. That's what he does. He tests women in love, or particularly you, because we're talking about you. That's his love game. His love game is to test you. Test your loyalty, test your faith, test your stability. Until he can show you that he loves you by protecting you, something like that. I don't know, he has a godlike complex, this guy, but it's much more practical than that. And it's based on envy. It's like he's jealous of every guy you're with, so he'll challenge a lot of your suitors. He'll cause trouble for them. He'll ensure that he destabilizes them. He'll make out that they are the heartbreaker. The funny thing is, I feel this person just sits back. He doesn't do anything very proactive. He's very much an earth sign. So I'm just trying to gain some perspective about this guy, actually. it seems to me that he underestimates you, because in this deck he sits at the bottom of the pile, he doesn't sit atop the pile. You sit atop. Whoever you consider to be your other lovers or your other flings sit atop. So it seems to me that you see their game clearly, and it has destabilized you and it has tested your faith, but you've thought better of it, because into the future you're protecting yourself against this person's love game, this man's love game, and the reason you're protecting yourself against it is because you value your independence greatly. You only seek out your own truth. You don't seek out the truth of having him beside you. And I feel that whoever has been around you in terms of lovers is about to fall from a tree onto his head. So his game is going to be thwarted. There's something about the love interest that you have around you, and I feel you know who it is. Who can play the cards better. And I feel this man can play his cards better in respect of your love relationship, because you're both in the same position. You're not upright. You're not doing... I feel from these cards that whoever this love interest is has used your man to get himself out of a dire state and isolated position. And I don't know how he's done that, but he's tricked him. But he doesn't look at him, he disregards him, he looks at you. And he protects you and he stands beside you. And he may not be in the best position, this other suitor, but I feel in the past you haven't been in the best position because you haven't been... You must have been dealing with a tower moment or something. It's in relation, some lady was causing trouble and she's connected to this person that plays the love game, because there's two men in your life. And I feel that you'll know, you're talking about this more stable character, but it could be a combination of both as well in the one person. But I really get the strong impression that there's one mainstay, and the mainstay's game is to get himself out of isolation, by just being on equal terms with you. That's his game. He doesn't have a trick. He has every trick in the book except with you, because he trusts you. This other person who's in the background, and I feel you know of him, but he doesn't seem to show his face often. He seems to hide away, but I feel you know who I'm talking about. He's passive aggressive. He appears to be more upright in character actually than the guy that you're thinking about constantly, because there's one guy you think about constantly, and this other guy you know of, but you don't think about him all the time. He's like somebody in the back of your mind who is more stable in a lot of different areas of his life, but is also presumptuous because he's caused a difficulty for you and for your love interests out of jealousy to so that you lose your faith in yourself, basically. And what these cards are saying to me is this love interest that you have around, who I feel you could be thinking of this guy actually when you ask about what his love game is. Very good with money, gambles, has a bad side to him, can be quite assertive, very passionate about you, has been in a dire situation, and you know him to have been in a dire situation. This other one, I feel he's a person in your background. He is a more upright in character, very presumptuous though. He has a side, and that side is just as bad as the one who is trying to protect you, but he won't admit it. So I feel this is kind of a mean man, because on the face of him he seems okay, but behind closed doors he's just presumptuous, like he's trying to upset your destiny, he's trying to test your faith, he's trying to cause trouble for your crushes because he thinks he's righteous. But it's saying to me clearly here that the person whose game isn't so bad, but whose game seems to be quite bad, is the one that you think about constantly, but who you know isn't, who can be devious. But I feel this other guy, I feel you've met him or you know of him, and you could be thinking about him because there's two men in this scenario, like there was in the first deck. Seems to be doing okay for himself, always has a friend around, very interested in psychics. You make him happy enough, and he's very talkative and intelligent man, can be very fiery with his words, but it shows strongly that his love game exists because his faith is tested. He's the one that's devious. He's the one that feels internally that he's been left out in the cold and doesn't want to feel that cold by being rejected by you. So his game is a cruel one. Here he is making out he's the Messiah or whatever it is, but he's really the devious one in this mix. This other guy that protects you, that's trying to get himself out of difficulties that you think about all the time, that in a physical capacity could be beside you all the time, is much better in his intentions towards you than this other man. The reason for that is that in some respect, both of you have had a tower moment and understand one another. Both of you have had your faith tested and understand one another and feel protective of one another. This other guy just sits back and tests your endurance and quite frankly, that's not how you show love or passion, because it shows it's based on passion. And envy, passion, envy, it's like the days of our lives, this story. So I feel I need to sort of tell you the whole story so that you can differentiate these men, because they show up strongly. This other man that I'm talking about, you may not know of, but you suspect he's around. The one that's protective of you, you know about because you think about him all the time. You keep him beside you constantly. He's not in the best position, but he's improving his outlook. It shows his faith will be tested into the future. But because he keeps you close, and because he's a fallen angel, his circumstances seem a little improved. And I feel that he's played his cards right with this fellow. He knows exactly what he's doing. Because it's not like this guy's ever going to be toppled. He's never going to be toppled. Because he he hides away. He doesn't confront issues or challenges in love. So his game is to work around the physical aspect of love, to antagonize a girl, to leave them out in the cold, to cause trouble for her lovers, to cause trouble for her, so that he ends up being the victor. But it shows very clearly that because he takes this game too far, he's not going to end up with you. He only thinks he is. Because you will find your balance. It's like what leads you forward and what keeps you connected to this man that you keep beside you, either on an emotional level or in a physical capacity, gives you strength. But you still come out on top, even though your whole fortune is upturned. You still lead this deck because you make the best of a bad situation. And you know who your friends are. And you know this man that even though he seems okay on the face of him, that he is not a friend. So I feel that you will find a way into the future to protect yourself and to regain your happiness. And I think the way you're going to do that is by keeping this other person close who isn't so upright in their character, but who tries. Because from your perspective, you're better off having the trier that wants to change for you, even though things have been down, than to have the antagonizer who has everything. Because your feeling on it is, if this person doesn't understand hardship, how can they understand you? So his game is flawed. He seems very grounded, but it's just a whole lot of trickery. A whole lot of trickery that ends in disaster, really. because that sword's going to turn on him, and you're going to be the one that turns this situation around. Okay, so that was Deck 2. If this reading resonated, please like, share, subscribe and comment. If you would like a personal reading, my details are in the description box below with a link to my website and to my Fiverr account. My website is a PayPal service, so you can either send me the funds with a message or you can send me an email inquiry. My Fiverr account is a service facility, and you need your Google details or your Facebook details to log into that facility. See you next time.